Do you hate shopping? Now, so many people think that women love shopping, it's a hobby, it's something they hang around with their friends and go out for fun. Now, I know in my experience that is not true. So many of my clients and my members really hate shopping, and obviously, when you end up in a situation where there's something you don't enjoy doing, it becomes a big burden, it becomes something that you feel really stressed about having to do, and then it's a vicious cycle and you don't really enjoy it and you don't get good results. So today I want to give you 5 tips to make shopping easier. And the reason I was thinking about this week is I was talking to one of my members and she was saying how she used to hate shopping, and it ended up being a bit of a chat around all the reasons why, and she said that since she's been in Elevate it hasn't been a problem because she's been following my tips. So I thought I'd share them with you today. So number 1. Now, I'm going to say first of all before I start, these are going to be so obvious to you, but sometimes we just need to hear them again. So number 1 is to make time. So many people shop as a last minute thing in a lunch break on the way to somewhere else, very ad hoc. I really want you to think about your wardrobe as something that is worth putting time in and to actually plan the time. So to make the time, to not multitask, not do it when you're doing something else. So making the time is number 1, and that can mean scheduling it and choosing a time where the shops are empty, making it a priority, going weekday, and shock horror, take a day off work, take some time off work to go in on a weekday in the morning so that you can really get the most of the stores when there's no one in them. So that's number 1. Number 2 is to have a list. Hopefully you'll have gone through your wardrobe before you even think about shopping, but I'm going to say this just in case you haven't. Do that first, and then have a list so that you know exactly what you're going for, so that you're not wandering around aimlessly. Number 3 is to shop for 1 or 2 items as a maximum. So you're not wandering around with a list of 20 different things that you need and a whole wardrobe of things you need, but taking it little by little so that you can really focus on ticking that thing off, making sure that you found those black trousers, making sure you found that red jumper, whatever it is that you've got in your mind before you go for something else. It just means that when you walk into a store, you can really focus and do what I call scan and gather, where you can literally glance down a rail and almost at a glance you can see if that store has got what you need, and if it hasn't you can just walk out again. So that's my number 3. Number 4 is know your colour palette. When you know the colour palette that works for you and you know that they all work together, again, it means that you can take a glance at a store, take a glance at a rail, and just know in an instant whether there's anything on that rail for you. So I know, for example, I'm an autumn palette, so I know that if I look at a rail of clothes and it's got lots of very intense, bright, cool colours, I can just step right away. I don't even need to go anywhere near the rail. So knowing your colour palette will really help you to make shopping easier. And number 5 is to do pre-shop research. So before you actually go into a store, go into the stores, or before you decide to sit down and do that planned online shop, is to have a look online first with the idea that you're not buying, you're just researching. And if you've seen any of my videos before, you'll have seen that I've mentioned a tool called Moonsift, which I really recommend that you use, just to get a sense of what's out there, so that when you've got your list and you know, I'd really love a pair of long wide leg trousers in a red colour, you can actually just go to all the brands, do a search online. I recommend even just starting off with a very broad Google search. So just Googling red trousers, red wide leg trousers. The next step from that would be to go onto a store. So if you're in the UK, something like John Lewis, which stocks loads of brands, or depending on your price point, going on to something like Matches or Net-a-Porter, and just doing a general search, just see who's got what of all the different brands, and then saving those to Moonsift, so that when you either go to do your online shop or whether you go into the stores, you've got a really good idea of exactly who's got what. All of those things will make your shopping easier. So just to recap what those are. So first of all, I want you to plan ahead. Secondly, have a list. Thirdly, to shop for 1 to 2 items only. 4th, have a colour palette in mind, know your colours. And 5, to do your pre-shop research. Now, I'm sure you'll find those quite an obvious choice, but I think that if you just think about those things before you next shop, have those in mind, it'll make life a lot much easier. And if you want some more shopping tips, don't forget that I have a book called Look Like the Lead You Are, which goes into much more detail about how to make shopping much more easier and much more pleasant. I'd love to know in the comments below how you get on, or send me a DM or an email. Anyway, have a fantastic day. Bye.